The opinions on compost contained in this video are the dudes, and the dudes alone. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey folks. So as a month comes to an end, one of my big chores is addressing my compost system. I compost on a regular basis, and my system is a 4-bay system where I run material through bay 1, and every month it flips to bay 2, and bay 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to the garden. So every month it tries to get turned. Now the process does sometimes slow down depending on how much material I have, depending on how hot it is and how hard it is for me to actually physically flip the bins. But today, bay 4 either can go to my little staging area to the right of it, but I guess it's technically bay 5, or it can go to the garden. And instead of flipping it just to move it again, I do want to get it to the garden, and that's a project I just started about 10 minutes ago, but I thought I'd take you through it. Now, since the back half of 2025, most of the beds in the garden have actually had more organic matter put on them after plants came out. But the area I'm standing in right now is where the garlic just came out of. And that actually did have some organic matter as well, but through the process of pulling the garlic out, the native soil that it was in and the organic matter that was on top kind of got mixed together. And I want to add another layer of compost from bay 4 onto these 5 beds, assuming I have enough. I can pull from bay 3 if I need to. It's done enough for my taste, but I wanted to get the soil covered for this. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the bed and the soil kind of pre-mulching. Now I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick it up, but we can see in this soil that we've got a lot of organic matter that is decomposed, semi-decomposed, but we also have a lot of what visually appears to be gravelly, dry soil. Now if we dig deep enough, let's go ahead and do that actually. We got some good crumbly looking soil that definitely includes some organic matter, and I say that because I know that my soil is a very hard red clay if you dig deep enough in here, but this is now the start of 6 years of organic matter being added on top of this stuff. Now if I dig deep enough, I can feel, some gritty sand, some clay in there, but the top 4 or 5 inches is relatively well incorporated with organic matter because of that which we've been kind of laying on top of since February of 2021. So what I'm doing right now, as you can see, I'm taking my compost pile and I'm adding about maybe an inch of the semi-decomposed compost on top of the material that you just saw. What this is going to do is not feed the plants this year. This is going to decompose over time into the soil. Now the soil that you just saw doesn't need any more fertility added to it to get these sweet potatoes to grow. But what this layer that we're going to put down today is going to do, it's going to add more organic matter to break down into the soil so future plantings can get more nutrition. But what it's also going to do in a situation like we have right now, which is a pretty heavy drought, it's going to hold more moisture in around the roots so that I can hopefully irrigate a little bit less. Now this for me is a very manual process. I just take some sort of a vessel tub, I go and I hand load it up, I come here and just squat down next to the beds and I just move organic matter around it, around each plant, just nice and carefully. It's time consuming, but it's fun labor, and I feel like I'm doing something really worthwhile for the plants and for the soil. So I don't mind spending time doing this. It's nice when the weather's really, really decent, which it's not bad right now. A little sunny, 80 degrees. We still really need some rain. But if I'm looking for a Sunday project, I really can't find a better one than this. Plus, from a value standpoint for my garden, I'm able to empty bay 4, which keeps my process of compost turning moving forward. So as we can see in bed 2, this is an unmulched bed at the moment. So we see a lot of gravel and a lot of sand, and you really can't see the clay in this one, but it's in there somewhere. But over here, we had the exact same situation, but now we've got it nice and covered. And here's a thought on compost. Now they say, and whoever they is, I don't know, that finished compost is when you look at compost, worms have made its way in, and you really can't recognize the original materials that went in, that's when you have a really finished compost. The truth to that, I don't really know. I don't really worry about that because I'll throw any organic matter down pretty much almost in any state of decomposition onto a garden bed of mine and feel pretty good about what's going to happen over the long game in that bed. Now, if you're trying to get up and running sooner for production, it would probably help to have a more decomposed organic matter. But like I said, these beds here, these first 5 that I'm standing in, these garlic beds, they were established before the rest of the garden, and that was February of 2021. So we finished 5 years of organic matter decomposing in place in these 5 beds. So I can feel pretty good that the nourishment within these beds is relatively strong and can probably grow out any plant root that I throw into it. But again, continuing to play for the future, I want to keep adding more to it. And the cool thing about using a semi-decomposed organic matter, like the one you just saw me put down, which you can clearly see leaves and hay, brown as they are, not decomposed, and I'm not finding a single worm in there. Not a bad thing, it's just the current state of it right now is relatively undecomposed. But it is a bit aged, there are microorganisms in there, and because I'm not needing that to drive plant growth this year, it can act as more of a surface mulch, which again can retain moisture in the soil when we actually finally get some rain. But when we do get that rain and the organic matter that was already in the bed prior to that mulch layer that we just put on, it's going to trap moisture in that organic matter, which is going to facilitate the breaking down of that a little faster. Because right now, as the sun beats down on these beds, all the organic matter that you see on top of it is going to resist decomposition because it's going to keep drying out. So over the coming 4 or 5 days, I might just do 1 bed a day because I've got other tasks I'm working on right now. We're going to actually go walk and talk that one as well. But yeah, 1 a day for the next 5 days, 4 days. That'll cover off all 4 beds that I have remaining. And then as the potatoes come out, we're probably going to go through the same process. Potatoes are going to come out, sweet potatoes are going to go in. Now those were mulched probably back in October of last year, but I'll put a thin layer on top because again, taking those potatoes out is going to sort of till the soil a bit to get them out. And it's going to bring a lot of the mineral soil up to the surface, and I really want to protect that. So in order to do that, I can put a nice, half 1 inch layer of the semi-decomposed compost, even from bay 3, if I don't have enough for bay 4 to cover all of these, onto those, just protecting the soil that's going to kind of come to the surface as we remove those potatoes. Now I'm going to walk you to the south side of the garden, outside of the fence, because I've got a field here, and before we talk about what I'm doing, because I'm going to show it to you easy enough because I'm already in process, I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. This, my friends, is a fig tree, variety Violetta de Bordeaux. Story behind this one, I purchased it, I believe, in February of 2022, and I installed it where my Celeste fig is up in my area that I'm trying to establish as and it's kind of failed, as a multi-tree, fruit tree orchard. It was up in that direction next to Celeste, and it was stunted. For 3 years, it did nothing. It didn't die, but it didn't grow. Now, how did it wind up down here? So it was January of 2025. I looked at the tree, the shrub, the stump, whatever you want to call it, and I said, you got to go. Now, in this area here, there was a massive pile of decaying Bermuda grass that I hand removed from the garden during the summer of 2023. And it was just sitting here decomposing. I had a video when I first started this YouTube channel where I took that pile and right here, I put a welded wire ring about 4 feet wide, 4 feet tall, and I moved that Bermuda grass into that welded wire ring, and eventually that material made it into the compost system that I run, the 4-bay that I've got. That left me with a massive cleared area of the native foliage here because, again, it had no sun access for 1.5 years, 2 years, but it was all of that organic matter at the base layer was decomposing. This was a beautiful looking surface. So I ripped that fig tree out of the ground and I stuck it in here when it was dormant. And I said, do what you're going to do. And it grew. It put on 4 feet of growth last year. I went ahead and pruned it to 3 main canes, if you want to call them canes. Now, I'm not going to prune it again. I'm going to let all that interior foliage go crazy because I do want it to lignify this winter, and I do want to take more cuttings from this one. But eventually, I'm going to let this plant probably be a fruiting one where I'll clean out everything on a regular basis, continue to shape it so that it's just really productive and really healthy. But this year, I think I'm going to let it go wild just to get the cuttings. What does this have to do with the south side of the garden? I've decided to run more figs in this area. This is not Violet de Bordeaux row, this is Celeste row, because I've got a lot of those propagated. On this side, they are all, I have 8 on this side, 8 on this side. I'm gonna have another 8 over there, but I don't think I'm gonna get too close to the tree line, only because at some point, as the sun moves, it's gonna be a little too shady. So I'll probably do 1 more row, maybe 2. We're probably about 15 feet apart in any direction right now, but the 3 gallons are from last year's 1 gallon stock that I propagated. I potted them up, the ones that didn't sell, and these over here are 1 gallon. I just kind of wanted to see what the difference was. These were all propagated back in February. I want to see the difference between their growth pattern, but I'm hoping by 2029 they're all able to produce. The one cool thing about figs is, though the fig fruit is definitely not deer resistant, deer do not seem to touch the foliage. So it's the only fruit tree that I can think of to actually put in an area like this and have it be relatively deer resistant. Like I said, until the fruit comes in, then I'll have to figure something else out. I'm thinking about a solar powered electric fence, 2 or 3 strand. I want to investigate more into that as a longer term solution, because I do not want to keep putting fences like that up. Yeah, so this is a project I've got going on right now. Last few days I put these in. So, and the reason I'm kind of I'm bringing this to your attention is because, as I said, I'm going to be mulching maybe 1 or 2 of those beds every day, but I've also been installing a few of these every day. Would I prefer a bit more diversity in what I'm planting down there? Absolutely. But I also, this is very cost effective for me because I've already got those plants propagated. I've purchased, what little I've purchased, I've sold and covered the cost for those. All of my profits in excess of my material costs I've used for food pantry donation. Just shopping and just donating food. And yeah, I'd like to get more diverse down there, but like I said, I don't have the fencing situation done, and I don't want to do what I did up in the orchard area where I spent a fair amount of money buying trees that got deer whacked, and spent a lot of time moving wood chips in that area just to layer on top of the native soil so that it can be a great planting surface like this garden in a few years. Just losing those trees kind of bummed me out. I do think one other project I want to take on is a blueberry expansion. Let me show you what I got going on with blueberries. It's not enough, but take a look. I put these 5 plants in spring of 2023, and as you can see, some of them have done pretty well. We're going to get some fruit off this one. This is these are all rabbit eye types, and this one is Ochlocony. He's doing really well. Who is this fella? Because he's looking really strong too right now. That's Premier, and this is either Powder Blue or Tiff Blue, and those 3 seem to be my strongest performers. This is Powder Blue. This is Pink Lemonade, and yeah, that's actually really edible. Not bad at all. Problem with Pink Lemonade, it's just not a robust variety. It doesn't seem to actually be much of a producer, and the guy who sold it to me even said, you know, it's more of a novelty blueberry than it is a big producer. And this one, did I keep the tag for him? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. So this one here, oh no, I did. Here it is. Is this Tiff Blue? Yeah, this is Tiff Blue. This was in a very similar shape to those 3, 4. Had a full set of old growth that did not break dormancy this past year, but it did throw new canes. So it's actually the first one that really showed a lot of extra new growth, but for some reason the old growth all died off. I was very surprised by that. So we're gonna let it roll, but I think as I build my orchard out my blueberries, what I'm thinking about doing, and I mentioned this in a previous video, this tomato bed here, it's not a full-time tomato bed, it's just the one that got it this year. I think when these come out, and I think that raised bed, maybe in October of this year, when those sweet potatoes come out, these will be gone long before then. I may not plant anything afterwards. What I'm thinking about doing is somehow in this area here, raised bed, this bed, somehow expanding the blueberries out in this direction, because I really would like to get more in the blueberry game going. And then I want to look to see if there's any other types that might work better. So I know that there's rabbit eye, which work well in North Carolina, but I think the other two, and I should probably look this up before I speak on it, like high bush or low bush are other varieties, but I don't necessarily know how well they work in North Carolina with the climate we have here. But I see the potential in blueberries to kind of step up their representation in my garden, sort of the way that I did blackberries. I've got plenty of strawberry representation, though this year has been a disaster for them. And I just got my game going with these Carolina raspberries. Now, there's only 5 of them right now. But hey, you want to see something cool? I'm getting some flowers. Now, whether or not those actually finish out is another story. As we get heat, like I said before, not in this video, but in a previous video, I'm going to have a shade cloth draped over this for the hottest part of the day for probably a couple of months during the summer, just to take the pressure off of these guys so they actually do have a chance of producing some fruit, because I've heard that the heat for raspberries stresses them out pretty badly. But if they propagate through suckers as easy as the blackberries do, I would like to take this down through here, probably stop about halfway down where that bed is, so maybe another 3 or 4 plants for a total of 8 to 9 before we crash into the Aronia, which again, this is another one where I've actually propagated a few more of these. They're going to throw a ton of fruit, though that poor guy over there is definitely getting shaded out by Mr. Elderberry here. This is Wildwood, or this is Bob Gordon. Right next door is Wildwood. How gorgeous is that? Methinks these Yukon Golds are on their last legs. They didn't get hit as badly as the Kennebec and the Pontiac Reds did from the frost that we had on the 19th and the 20th. They got hit by the potato beetle afterwards because I was very neglectful after we got the plants burned from the frost. I just decided I wasn't that interested in paying that much attention to the crop. I was going to focus my energy elsewhere because I knew that my results were going to be stunted anyway. So, but I'm looking at the plants and the growth, and we're about to hit another heat wave. We're still not getting any rain. I did a little bit of watering just to kind of help them limp along a little bit. But yeah, they're looking more tired than the other 2 varieties, and maybe it's because they've had a little bit more opportunity to grow because they didn't get hit as bad. But the coloring on them looks worse than the other ones. These are the Pontiac Reds. They're not looking so bad, save for the fact that they just, the potato beetle just annihilates these plants, and it doesn't even matter how healthy. I mean, that area right there, they were sticks, so I actually got rid of those. I haven't gotten rid of my sticks here yet. I'll probably just wait to just get the whole thing out of here. But yeah, I think the Yukon Gold, maybe they're a few days shorter from just a genetic life standpoint. So I will have to take, I'm going to take those out, and these are all going to come out for the sweet potato slips. I was hoping to push it to June 15th, and June 15th, every slip that I have would go in right behind all of these. All right, I think I've rambled enough. Hope you enjoyed what you saw here. If you have if you know anything about the North Carolina climate, and you have any fruit tree suggestions that are, slam dunks for success, feel free to post below. Or if you're in any climate that's like North Carolina, even if you're not here, and you've had surprise success with something, yeah, let me know. The one I will leave you with is the Aronia. If you haven't checked that one out, it's not the tastiest berry, but it's native to our area, and it is very nutrient dense. I would never want to have just a smoothie of Aronia, but a third Aronia, a third strawberry, a third blackberry, I did that all winter long, and I was really happy with that. So if you take nothing else away from this video, take that away. That's a really good plan. If it works in your climate, I would definitely install a few of those. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.